welcome back to the KBoBM Museum of Hawkinge. This is day 7, i.e. we open tomorrow, 10 o'clock tomorrow, the 18th of May. We are back open, welcoming our friends, supporters and volunteers back to visit the KBoBM Museum of Hawkinge. The last video is about the station Armoury and the contents of which is the uniforms, the personal effects, the weaponry. But we thought we'd show you some of the outside details. You can probably see above this blocked-in window, this crack. And that is actually the remnants, because on the 12th of August, in the evening of 12th of August 1940, Meshmit 110s, a verbal group of 210, attacked the airfield and destroyed the hangar that stood alongside where you park your cars. There's a tree line, but that's where number 3, a 3-bay Belfast Trust hangar, was destroyed. And a lot of the ammunition for the airfield and for the aircraft was stored there. And with the explosion of the bombs plus the ammunition, the blast actually caused this roof to lift and move fractionally over. And you can see the crack created by that bomb blast. We're going to take you round to the Armoury and show you inside the building. You'll join us in the RAF Gallery in the Armoury at the KBoBM Museum. This is one of our winter projects that we did during the lockdown of 2019 into 2020. Before when you came into the museum, this was a big wall cabinet with the uniforms. We thought that was quite antiquated. So much information that people are interested in the uniforms that we created a centre walkway, so you walk round the uniforms, you can view them from all sides, and this became the personal effects display for the Luftwaffe side. The centrepiece is the tapestry or the patchwork quilt of Elam. It comes from the book The Halves of Meshmit, written by Dennis Knight. Beautiful book, covers Elam and Hawkinge during the 1940 and particularly the Battle of Britain. This was produced by the Women's Institute in Elam in 1990. The book was based on the diaries of Mary Smith, and sadly she died early in 1990, so she was aware that this was in production but sadly never saw it finished. We've always had it on display, but I've always wanted to actually create it as a big impressive display, and a few years ago we were given this piece of glass that came from a cafe, a front window from a cafe, and when I saw that I thought, we can use that and we won't have to have a join in the glass. So this is the centrepiece. There's lots of amazing items in the cabinet, including the rudder from a Meshmit 109, control columns, the best known examples of German Battle of Britain 109 control columns. Here's a very unusual, it's the only known surviving Ju-87 control column and gun site. This was shot down at Fishbourne Creek in the Battle of Britain on one of the Stuka attacks of Tangmere and Thorney Island of that period. And if we pan round, so now all the uniforms are in the centre, so you can walk round. There is a one-way system for COVID at the moment. We hope later in the summer the restrictions will be further eased, but obviously there's plenty of ventilation here and plenty of space. But this is where all the uniforms are displayed. It's a large collection of German and British uniforms and show anywhere in the world relating to the Battle of Britain. And above is one of the large collection of fine art prints. We've got over 300 fine art prints. You won't see it at most art galleries, all associated to the Battle of Britain period. And in a moment, you can join me and we'll go through and show you what we've been doing over the last few months in the gun room. One of the major projects during the lockdown and through the winter of 2020 to 2021, I knew we'd be doing working on the Bristol Blenheim, the Hawkinge, the Ernest Scott display, many other smaller displays around the museum. We've completely rebuilt the gun room. So we've got, to your left is the recovered aircraft weaponry, recovered from all the different aircraft crash sites we've excavated over the years, all with the individual histories. We're just doing the final layout, so this will be ready for tomorrow when you visit. Photographs of the pilots, photographs of those that shot them down. It's a large collection of aircraft weaponry from the Battle of Britain you'll see. And on your right is what we call the weapons to defend the island. These are predominantly, a lot of them are actually First World War weaponry. So you've got things like the Lewis gun, the Figgers gun, the SMLE, the Webley Mark IV, maybe Mark VI I should say, here. But these are all the weapons that the British Army would have, but more importantly the Home Guard. What would be defending the British Islands, had Operation Sea Lion taken place and there'd been an invasion of Britain during the summer of 1940. This has all been created by volunteers. We've had to buy the wood, the paints, materials like that, the aluminium strip, which is part of your admission fees and donation goes towards. The rest of it, the glass panels, are actually second-hand patio doors that we collect from several glazing companies in the area, particularly On Time Windows, we mentioned earlier a couple of days ago. But they donate us, when they take patio doors out, they donate the glass, which enables us to build the cabinets
which is cost effective for us as a small charity run by volunteers, but allows us to create these beautiful cabinets for you to view, and the display is obviously improved year on year. Every penny that we take is literally ploughed back in to improve the museum, improve your experience, but also to make sure our heroes are being commemorated in the museum. We'll finish up in the Armoury. We'll just take a little view of the RAF uniforms just behind us, so follow me. Now, this is the RAF Gallery. It's the opposite side to the RAF Gallery, but again, this is a project we did 2 years ago, again where we moved the uniforms that were along one wall so you couldn't see the side and back of the uniforms. Now you can walk the whole way around and you can view the uniforms front, back and side, which is very interesting to historians, reenactors, things like that, so you can see all the detail you require. It's the largest collection of RAF Battle of Britain uniforms anywhere in the world. Back in 1990, the curator of the Battle of Britain Hall at Hendon came to visit and was telling us that he had the only known GQ parachute survive anywhere in the world. Mike, the founder of the museum, the curator of the museum, pointed out that we had this example of the GQ parachute. The curator was quite stunned by that from Hendon and said, "Do you know of any others?" He went, "Yes, there's another one just behind you there." We have got a large collection. One of the most important exhibits we hold in the museum is also the working uniform of Lord Dowding. This is the uniform that he wore during the Battle of Britain. It's dated 1939 in the collar. Muriel Dowding was our patron through the 70s when we were at Langley at Chilham Castle, but that is one of the items that she donated to the museum and is such a historic and important artefact in the museum. Everything's got a story, important things like that. Everything here has got its own personal story. Many of them you've never heard of, but here they're commemorated. They didn't die in vain because their memories kept alive by the volunteers at the museum and by you visiting the museum. You take those stories away, which keeps those memories alive. So it's what the museum's about. Thank you very much for joining us. We're open from 10 o'clock tomorrow, Tuesday the 18th of May. We hope to see you soon. Basic COVID systems in place to keep your visit safe, keep the volunteers safe as well. So please come along, support the museum, share this to your friends and family as well. Hopefully they can come along and visit as well. But your entrance fees and donation means that we can carry on doing what we do, expanding, improving and commemorating more of our heroes. Thank you for joining us.